Hey guys, happy March. So first of all, I wanted to apologize about the live that I had scheduled on February 29th. I was hoping to do one and then I just was in so much pain. As some of you guys know, I have endometriosis, and coincidentally, March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. I have done a video on my story with endometriosis, so I can link that down below if you guys are curious to know that and understand a little bit more about the disease. But basically, I just wanted to quickly mention that and apologize. I hope to schedule another live sometime this month, because I just think it would be really fun to do just a hangout live. Here's my cat. Hi, Luna. Yeah. I haven't done a hangout live, I think, in over a year now, so I think the last one I did was my deck collection, which I had toyed with the idea of doing another live that would be a deck collection, but I thought just a hangout one would be kind of fun, so I'm hoping to get that scheduled. I'm thinking about doing it on a weekend still, sometime in the next couple of weeks here, and that will show up on my channel as soon as I decide when I want to do it and all that. So on to the meat of this video, I guess. It's going to be kind of a ramble. I wanted to make a video on something specific, and there's a few topics I kind of want to discuss in further videos, but I think this one's just going to be a little bit more of a ramble of some of the things that I have been looking into with my craft lately and things that have just been kind of on my mind. So first of all, the videos that I was thinking about making were some Witchcraft 101 videos. I don't really have a whole lot of that information on my channel, and I know there's an abundance of it out on YouTube and out in books and stuff, and sometimes I really kind of more prefer to bring different subjects, more thought-provoking subjects, to the community and just kind of put out there for people to think about and kind of mull over. But the first is that I have never really done a video on circle casting and what my thoughts are on that and how I do it in my practice and some of the common methods. So if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, please let me know, and I would be more than happy to make a video covering that subject. The second is that I would love to have a discussion or video about the concept of light versus black magic, or white versus black magic, I should say, and you know, my thoughts on that, and I won't get into it here just because if I do a video on it, I'd rather save my thoughts for it. But if you guys are also curious about me covering that topic, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will be more than happy to make a video on that as well. With that being said, I just wanted to pop on and say happy March, and I think I'll kind of get into my plans for Ostara. I haven't completely solidified what I'm hoping to do. I did look up that Ostara is actually on the 19th of this month because, as we all know, the solstices and the equinoxes tend to move back and forth every year by a couple of days or so. So it is on the 19th this month, according to the information that I found, which was basically just a general Google search. But I have not set up my Ostara altar yet. I currently have another setup, which a cat is on. Excuse you. Get off. Off. She knows not to climb on it. She doesn't give a shit. I currently have another setup on my altar right now. I have a spell in the works that I plan to have finished up by the next full moon, which I believe is on the 9th. So it's next week. And also, if you guys want to see a current altar video tour, I can do that. I've made some new additions and changed some things up. I love showing my altars. I know I've done it a lot recently, but I've been changing it up quite a bit and doing my best to make it more functional, at least for my working altar. But I know that I had a lot of comments about people really enjoying the time-lapse altar setup videos, so I do plan to do that for Ostara, but I just wanted to let you guys know that it might be a few weeks into March, just because I'm waiting for that full moon to pass to finish up my working, because I initially cast the spell that I'm working on the new moon, and I wanted it to go a full moon cycle. So that will be finished up soon here. And then As for Ostara plans, I usually like to really cook each Sabbat. So the thing that I really like to make for Ostara is I do a like lemon cilantro chicken. My ring light just died. Just thought I had that plugged in. Guess not. I usually do a like lemon cilantro chicken, and then I made last year I made cheesy zucchini rice to go with it, and that was really good. I don't know why, but I've been trying to really forge my own traditions for each of the Sabbats, because I feel like, and this is going to kind of lead into mostly what I wanted to talk about with this video. I feel like, there's a hair tickling me. I feel like setting up your own traditions and forging your own path and how you plan to do things when it comes to observing the Sabbats and the cycles of each passing season and the moon cycles, so each things that you like to do for each Esbat, are something that's really, really important for structuring a more consistent practice. And this is something that I have been thinking about a lot lately. This is something that I've been mulling over. As you guys know, I recently just did a video talking about my struggles with daily practice. I think it was my second to last video I just posted about a week ago. So I have been doing a lot of contemplation over what I can do to help myself achieve a more consistent practice. And I noticed that forging my own traditions is really kind of going to be somewhat of a foundation of that, because if you have something that you do consistently each, say, passing Sabbat or Esbat, then you're going to maybe want to do it again. So I've been kind of thinking, well, there's certain things that I want to cook on Ostara, there's certain things that I want to do on Ostara, there's certain intentions I want to focus on, there's certain intentions I want to focus on Beltane, and there's certain things that I focus on when it comes to summer solstice. So I really think that keeping that consistency and really kind of forging your own traditions on what you want to celebrate and the things that you'd like to do for each Sabbat and Esbat is extremely helpful in keeping consistency. The other thing that I have really been mulling over, and this was kind of inspired by a conversation with my good friend Drew, who is She Who Walks Between the Worlds here on YouTube, is the fact that, and I have to kind of tread lightly on this subject because I don't want to get too rigid, but because I don't believe in rigidness words in my practice in the sense that I'm about to describe, really to a very extreme degree, but I do think that there is a benefit to this, and that is learning the traditions of your practice. For example, say you work with the Greek pantheon or the Celtic pantheon or the Egyptian pantheon, or in my case the Norse pantheon predominantly. I think it's very important to read the historical traditions of those paths and kind of forge your own path from the foundation of those traditions. This is why I said I have to be careful and tread lightly, because I don't want to be too rigid, in the sense that I'm not saying that you need to only do traditional, because perfect example, in the Norse pantheon, ancient Norse culture, they weren't really a culture that wrote a lot of things down. Their stories were passed on from generation to generation. So what we know of Norse magic in, previously in the past versus today in pagan reconstructionalism is vastly different. And the information that we have, we only have so much to go off of. And I don't think that you should stick to what was in a rigid sense, but I do think that it holds a lot of importance for a foundation to build on and a way to connect with those personified deities if that is your ultimate goal, or a way to build a practice with certain rituals and certain prayers or certain evocations, certain divinations, things like that. There's many things that you can explore in the foundation of each practice. So that is something that I really think is important to look into, especially if you are finding yourself drawn to a certain pantheon. Then study the myths, study the history, study the magical history of what these shamans, priestesses, priests did back then in, say the Egyptian culture or the Norse pantheon or the Norse culture, ancient Norse culture. I do think that there is a lot to be said about learning about where this all comes from and how it has changed over time and how you expect to change it in your path and what you hope to do for how to forge your own path. So that was a bit rambly, but I hope it makes sense. And that's just kind of a lot of what I have been mulling over and learning lately. And what I have been specifically learning is Seidr magic and what Seidr magic is. And so far, and trust me, I'm no expert on this, my understanding of Seidr magic is that it is more forging a, I'm using that word a lot in this video, it's more crafting a way to change your fate and to change the fate of your path. And it's also very heavy on journeying and trance work and divination, all things that I hope to explore. Now, personally, the forging of, I keep saying that word, the changing of and the weaving of fate in a personal manner of what I feel I can do and my power to change my fate in my own life. That's something I think maybe for another video, because I have a lot of mixed feelings about it. Some of it I feel like, what place do I have to really wield that kind of power to change the fate that I'm on? But yet at the other time, or on the other hand, I have a lot of feelings of I'm in the driver's seat, I'm the person that will make the changes that direct my path. So I have kind of mixed feelings about focusing on that kind of magic. Some things I do think are in my control and some things I think are very much out of my control. So it really kind of depends on how much control I feel I want to have in my path. So that's something I'm kind of still mulling over and understanding when it comes to Seidr magic. But the other thing that I'm really trying to understand is the Norse shamans or the Norse mystics. They were known as the Volva, and I'm trying to learn a little bit more of who these people were, what their practices were, what they did, and how I can maybe incorporate that into my practice working with the Norse pantheon and what I hope to do as a modern day pagan Norse, mostly Norse witch. As I said, I primarily work with the Norse deities, but I'm not strict to that pantheon. I just don't believe in working strictly with one pantheon. I do think that whatever deity will come to you, and that's how it's meant to be. So a lot of my path is very fluid and not so much rigid. And that's just how I am. And that's something that I was a little bit concerned in discussing this video, that I didn't want it to seem like I was saying that it needed to be too rigid, because I think that you really need to have a lot of fluid in your path. Fluidity. Ugh, words. But yeah, so those are some of the things that I have been learning lately, some of the things that I have been mulling over, and sort of my afternoon musings while I have a little bit of a break from my children. My husband is working a lot of overtime and has for the last month and a half. So, yeah, I'm a little burnt out, and I'm very appreciative of my support system. With that being said, I just figured I would come on, make a quick video while I have the time, and kind of talk to you guys about some of the things that I've been thinking about, some of the things that I have coming up, and all that. So, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and always thank you for watching, and blessed be.